we go.
Holy smokes. Technology's supposed to make stuff easier.
You know what? They say that, but I'm still like
I don't know why.
caveman era. Ah, cool. Well, hopefully everybody, well, I think there were only a couple people that were on the other live, so hopefully they swap over to this one, get the memo. All right, hey guys, how's it going? Happy, what is it, Wednesday? I don't even know. Thursday? Thursday. Happy Thursday. Um, Figure we'll give people a couple minutes to hop on and then we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Gotta get the stash all figured out too. Gotta
Uh,
look pretty.
it just gives me something to laugh at in the morning since my head don't want to grow anymore.
Oh no.
I
Hey Cassie, how's it going?
gotta have the silver lining, I guess, and everything.
I like it. Gotta get like, do you have like mustache wax? You get it all primed
Oh,
and ready?
yeah, once it gets this gnarly, you gotta tame it. Otherwise, you kind of end up looking like the Lorax if you don't. It's all
Oh no.
like a walrus. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep. That's my fiance did a couple summers ago and I was like, man, you gotta tame that thing. It is just a
Really?
mess right
Oh,
now.
really?
Uh, hey Danny, how's it going? Cool. Well, it looks like we already got a good amount of people on so far. Well, to everybody that's watching, welcome. This is now the sixth live, I think, for Chats with Fire. Today we have John. He is the man behind Hold the Line Fly Fishing. So I know several people out there are super into fishing, myself included. I'm not a professional by any means, but I like to get out on the water. So I figured this would be something kind of fun to have John come on and just talk about Hold the Line Fly Fishing, the mission behind it. It ties in with first responders and the whole mental health thing that we've been talking about recently. So welcome, John. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, um, I figured we'll just have you kind of start from the top, give a rundown on
Sure.
what it is, what you do, how you started, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no problem. So we can go back to it's been it's been in the making for a while. We've only been going for a couple of years, and up until gosh, I guess last September, we were still waiting on our official like nonprofit status, which we
Okay.
got. So we're all via con Dios on that matter of things, which is great.
Rad.
It's opened up a few more doors for us, which is really cool. But how it got started was been about 5 years ago now. We had both professionally and personally, we had kind of a crap year. We lost my grandpa kind of unexpectedly, and then 3 months later, my middle brother was killed coming home from a date night with his wife.
Oh.
So that was pretty rough. Yeah, about a month later, one of my best friends growing up committed suicide in his truck up in Colorado.
Oh
And
my
then,
goodness.
yeah, and then one of our engineers at work committed suicide. And then, like I was telling you earlier, my little guy, we found out he was going to be born with some crazy rare birth defect. So it was like a whirlwind of 6 months. And then, then we got through all that stuff. And then, fast forward, our little guy's born. He was in the NICU for like a real short amount of time, actually, only about 2 weeks or so, which they told us to expect a month at least. So we're like,
Yeah.
oh, sweet, he's killing it, right? We're good to go. We got him home, and then he started having like all sorts of issues, started puking up like this crazy highlighter yellow bile, which we knew was bad from what they were looking for in the NICU. So we took him back in. Well, he ended up having like a necrotizing bacteria that was starting to eat him from the inside out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Poor kid.
yeah, they didn't let on like how bad that could have been, but it could have killed him. So we got through that, got him home. Everything was cool, and obviously you met him a couple ago. He's a little crazy.
That's the fire.
Yeah, so we're all good there. But through all that, and then just kind of having to work through all the ins and outs of the emotional side of that, again, both professionally and all that.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to admit it. My wife and I both separately and together did counseling through the counseling team here that's local to us. And my department has a pretty cool thing where we are allowed, I want to say it's 10 visits a year, which is pretty huge.
Yeah.
So we can go together, separate. If my boys need to go, we can all go as a family. It's all, each thing is like 10 deals. So that helped. And it wasn't like, when my wife and I did the couples thing, like we were on the ropes or anything. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like a fine tune. Let's tune up from this garbage year we've had and figure it out. But so in doing that, I reconnected personally with fly fishing. I used to do it with my grandpa, the one I was telling you passed, and took my wife up. We went to Idaho, did like 10 days, bebopping around up there, between there, Montana, Utah, Wyoming. Fly fish a little bit. She got all into it. And we ended up booking a trip with, his name's Ryan Bueller. He's a professional guide at the Kern River Fly Shop. And he's on our board of directors now. And it really helps me because he's a professional. Like I told you, I know enough just to be dangerous. So we booked the trip. Does this, like, what's that? I'm sorry. You're breaking up pretty good.
Okay. Nope, we're good. It just slowed down for a second, but I think we're back on. Okay.
Yeah, you're looking
Go ahead.
a little.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. I was going to say you were looking a little choppy and matrixy for a second.
All right. That's my special skill. We'll keep going.
So yeah, we're driving home, and I look at her. I say, hey, does this, like, do you feel like super calm, and like while you're doing it, your brain is kind of like turned off to whatever is going on, with whatever? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, me too. And that's pretty. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. We were both kind of feeling the same thing, and had a lot going on. So I was talking with her. I said, hey, I wonder if we could figure out a way to make up some trips where we do this for first responders and maybe people that need it. And I said, what do you think? She goes, man, that's a great idea. I wonder if anybody's doing it. So I got home and I looked it up, and there is like Project Healing Waters and a few others for veterans, but I couldn't find a single thing in the whole United States that was fly fishing related and first responder related. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see what it would take to get something like this off the ground. So I called the dude that I just met and only known for 8 hours, Ryan, who's a great guy, a good friend now.
Nice.
And pitched the idea to him. Say, hey man, what do you think about this? Do you think it would work? And he goes, dude, because they're very big on that kind of stuff, like giving back. Like they work with Casting for Recovery. They do kids days, which I don't know if you've ever heard of Casting for Recovery. They're a cool group. They do, it's a big nonprofit that does fly fishing for women going through breast cancer treatment or who have come through it. So anyway, he's got a huge heart. And so I kind of pitched him the idea. Here's what I'm thinking. And he goes, oh, dude, like I barely got it out. And he goes, man, I'm in 150%, whatever you need. Let's figure out how to make it work. Yeah. So, I mean, shoot, not a couple months later, we had a trip planned, and we've had 3 so far. We try to do like at least 2 a year, unless something presents itself where I'm getting contacted or they're getting contacted a bunch. Okay. And then we'll work on throwing something else together. So, so from all of like the nonsense that happened, again, personally and professionally, I got involved real heavy. I'm on our peer support team, and, attend those classes and trainings and, suicide interventionalist stuff and like just kind of a bunch of stuff to help, the brothers and sisters at work. And to be honest, I haven't had to use it at work. the first time I had to use it was one of my best childhood friends growing up, and he's still here with us today and doing well. So it's pretty beneficial, man. It's like I told you earlier, it's a super humbling thing to try to help, and then actually have that that anecdotal evidence that that something as silly and maybe mindless as fly fishing is at times can kind of bring you, like, recenter you, I guess is a good way, kind of bring you out of whatever funk you're in. Yep. and really recenter you. So it's been pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's so many different things that people get into, and regardless, if it's fishing or crocheting or dog mushing, I don't know, whatever. I mean, as long as you're in that good headspace, like that's healing. Yeah. And I think it's super awesome, especially, like I said, being born and raised in Alaska, like fishing to me is one of those, like,
yeah,
you're out in nature, it's calm, it's peaceful, like there is a lot of healing with that.
Yeah,
I think that's fantastic.
There's something about it's really weird, just standing in the middle of a river surrounded by the outdoors. I'm not like a crazy tree hugging guy by any means, don't get me wrong, but there is something to be said about, it's only in recent history that we haven't been outdoors the majority of your life. It's just within the last 125 years, that human beings have kind of moved from being in nature more often than not to being indoors and kind of getting away from that. Most people work in an office. Our homes are built to be these awesome, beautiful things, and we try to make them that way so they're comfortable. And getting the chance to reconnect and be out in nature is huge. I think people don't take advantage of it as much as they probably could to get that kind of positive healing effects.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, it's anecdotal at best, but there is, as far as what we're doing, but I'll just ask them, when we're done, hey, what do you think? Give me the honest, I want honest, because if we can make it better, then I'm all for it,
Yeah.
And usually what we get is, we wish we could be here longer. That's usually cool. What we get. And we don't do, so I intentionally set it up the way I did, because I didn't want there to be physicians or psychologists or anything. I just kind of wanted people to have a different avenue to get, whatever help that they might get out of it. And a lot of times, we'll be sitting around, because what I try to do is get people up there early, and then I pay for the camping spots, or it was me in the beginning. Now the organization pays for the camping spots, but a lot of times, just being around people who understand, right, what you might deal with, and this last one was a great example, man, in October. So we had, I would say, most of the attendees, I'd have to run back through who all was there. Most of the attendees came from the wildland side of things. That was the first. Okay. So we had wildland fire guys and a wildland fire girl. Nevada, New Jersey, Texas, and California. That's how many people, different geographical locations people were coming from.
That's awesome.
And an Aussie. We had an Aussie too, so that was kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, and a couple cops, myself as a municipal guy, and I think that was it. But it didn't seem to matter. Well, no, it didn't matter. Everybody, when we'd sit and have food and sit around the campfire and have a couple beers or whiskey or whatever, everybody just it was very organic in how people wanted to talk. Right? There was no barriers. Everybody was like just free talking. And it's not like I led or lead a guided discussion group, right? We're just sitting around.
How does that make you feel? Like, right, yeah.
Yeah. none of that, right? Like I'm sitting there scribbling notes or anything. It's strictly organic, and the people that have come, it's happened every time. So that in and of itself, I think, does like a crazy thing for your head, where you're just with like I said, like-minded folks, and you're free to just kind of be yourself and talk through your shit and whatever you're working on, because everybody else that's there is doing the same thing. And it was, most often I just sit back and I just watch, because it's exactly what I was envisioning happening. Just this very organic, normal thing where people they just meet each other, they like each other. Maybe that won't always happen, who knows. We've been pretty lucky so far, so that's cool. But they just open and share, and there's no pressure to if you don't want to, but more often than not, they do, and it's been really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Again, the word humbling isn't enough, but it's about as good as I can do, because I'm just an idiot. So
no,
I'm not this.
It's perfect.
Yeah, so it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. So I've been on one official like guided trip. Actually, I dated somebody a while back. He was a guide, and he asked me to come be an interpreter. Anyways, long story short, just seeing, and that's just people paying to go out on a guided trip. So you have people from different backgrounds, different experiences, different ages, whatever. They're already going because they want to fish, right? Like that's why they're going on this trip. So like that's already the common theme. Like there's already a connection. But I feel like what you're doing, I mean, you're doing that, but you're also bringing together people who might have similar experiences, or across. I would say like across all first responders, kind of regardless what field or type. Like there's kind of an underlying brotherhood or sisterhood, whatever, that also link people together. So like you're bringing together like the best of two worlds, and then like you said, you just get to sit back and I'm sure like watch the magic happen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It really is. And it's it's something I like to do, and my wife likes to do, and our boys like to do it. So it's good for us, and we were just hoping that it rub off and help other people the same way it helped us, and it's seeming to do that. Hopefully we keep doing pretty good on these fundraisers and keep them going. But either way, even if I have to work extra, the trips will keep happening regardless of how the funding happens. We'll keep on. So yeah.
Is that kind of how that whole thing works then? Is it all donation based, or like, I know
we don't
fundraisers, so
so we do a fundraiser in the spring usually. We'll have one coming up. Then from that, we just kind of line out the year. We usually try to do a trip in April and October, because those are really good months. The weather's perfect. It's beautiful. The river's real bitching at that point. So that's the norm. Okay. And then, like I said, if we need more, like I said, something happens and I get a big group of people that contact me, or a lot of single people or singular people, then we'll line another one out and make sure it works for everybody. So we kind of leave the latitude to kind of bob and weave as we need to.
Right on.
Yeah.
And that's, you said you've been out 3 or 4 times?
3. We've done 3 to date. Oh. Okay. So yeah, we started in at the end of 2021 was when we did our first one. So yeah, we've had 3.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And how many do you guys have? I'm just curious, like how you guys have it set up then. Is it like each group gets like a tour guide, not a tour, like a fishing guide, or a couple people, or like how? Yeah. What's the setup for that?
Yeah. So we pay for everything, right? So everything the day of. We're still working on being able to do like all meals, all that stuff. But the day of, we do breakfast and lunch. We used to do lunch on the water, but we handle all that, all the drinks and everything during the day. Okay. And then, like I said, this last time we were able to pay for camping spots, which was really cool. So we were all lined up we all just, pile in around one of the fire rings and hang out. But normally the operation is we also, like, I go up early, Thursday, kind of get logistical stuff handled. And then most people start coming in on Friday. We'll all hang out, have dinner, go to dinner, whatever. There's a brewery there in town. And from there, camp Sunday or Saturday, I'm sorry, we'll wake up and we all meet at the fly shop. We kind of do like a real basic, who's new in the zoo kind of a thing. Everybody says where they're from, what they do. We give a real brief, well, Ryan does usually, gives a real brief outline of, the equipment and kind of what the day is going to look like. And then we usually have enough volunteers where it's one-on-one. So you'll have, somebody that's pretty dialed in. I feel bad for the people that have to go out with me, but we still get them on fish, so it's okay. But yeah, so then we'll fish, through till about lunch, have lunch, fish the rest of the day, and then we go back, kind of do a little debrief. And then at the end, I send everybody home with it's like a combo setup. So they've got a rod, a reel, line, backing, and heater, so they can keep on or, sell it on eBay or whatever. So
hold it until it's worth billions in the future.
So that's awesome. How it goes. And we're trying to, eventually we'd like to get it to where it's a full, like, 2-day. So they kind of get to work on and practice the stuff we show them on Saturday, and then we go back out again on Sunday, and keep, like, kind of pressing on with that. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate goal. So hopefully we'll get there.
That's very cool. And I feel, I mean, especially if you guys are still in the beginning stages, there's so much room for growth.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
Sky's the limit. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're not limiting ourselves really to anything, but it's also nice that it's, kind of small and easy to maintain at this point.
Sure.
So yeah, it's good. It's been good.
Yeah. So I'm curious then, I mean, if it's kind of on the smaller scale, like more of a local thing, how do you pull people from, like, New Jersey and Texas? Or was that just, like, people that you kind of knew about, or did they contact you out of the blue?
I had never met, the gal that came from Australia I had met before, but only because I was up in Reno and we went fishing together with Brandon from Anchor Point. And so doing that with him was pretty good and pretty big. So I tell him all the time, because we still talk a bunch. At least once a week or every other week, just checking in on each other. I say, hey man, this program owes you quite a bit, for the platform you provided, and he got a hold of me just kind of out of the blue. But the fact that it did what it did, that's how those guys heard about what we had going on, and they then in turn reached out to us, and we were able to get them out here, and get them out on the water. And it's been pretty awesome, keep in contact. I try to keep in contact with everybody that comes. I know fire season comes and work, gets busy. It's life, things happen. But yeah, that's how we got the far away traveling folks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the beauty, even though, like, the technology issues are kind of a pain, like, that's kind of the beauty of social media, is you can reach people that you would have no other contact with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm terrible at social media. Is the Instagram for this thing I've got going on will attest to. It's not very good, but it serves its purpose.
That's what it needs. Yeah. Man. Well, that's very cool. I mean, do you guys have, like, what are we, January? I mean, you guys probably have time. Are you planning another trip, like, in the next couple months then? April?
Yeah, like I said, probably sometime in April.
Okay.
I got to meet with, I got to get our guys together and see what because everybody else has a regular day job too, so
Yeah.
we all volunteer. All of the time is volunteer. Nobody gets paid. So when we line it up, we got to try to line it up to where we're all off, or make sure that we're off, and then
Right.
sure that we have enough volunteer guides that also are off, that are willing to come up and spend time. But usually that's not difficult, because the people that come up more often than not are other first responders, who have already found the benefit of it, not through us, just from doing it on their own.
Gotcha.
So they're all about, kind of giving back and helping us out. So, but that's typically, how that part of it goes, is just making sure we're all all in alignment. The stars all line up to where we're all off, or not traveling for work, or
Right.
whatever. Clients booked already for the boys that guide us, so so yeah, that's a little challenging sometimes, but it always works out. Everything always works out.
Right. I mean, I like that though. I know for myself, having a business, there's so many things that you're like, man, how do I piece this all together? I've got to get all this stuff figured out. And at some point it's like, you just got to do it. You make it work, and, don't let all of the little things hold you back. Like,
Yeah.
you just got to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's like I said, it's nice being small, because we're not like beholden to anybody but ourselves and the people we're trying to help, so we can, like I said, we can kind of bob and weave, and it's inevitable, man. Like, we'll have, because we're and we'll fill that up, but with force hires, some big incident happens for our law enforcement guys, or they're getting held over, you name it, anything can happen. We always end up losing people, and then those spots will fill back up, and then we'll lose people more, so it's always in this constant flux until the day of. But I mean, even if we only had 1 or 2 people show up, we'd still do it. It's the same whether it's 1 or 12, and if that 1 or 12 help, then or it kind of sets them back in that right path, that right headspace and frame of mind, then that's all that matters. At least to us, that's all that matters, And then we also can give them, like, we when we give them their rod combo, we send them home with some resources to, like, if just in case maybe your EAP, your employee assistance program, isn't great, or you're not getting the help that you think you want or need. So we have a bunch of different resources we'll list out for them. And one of them that's really cool, I've been talking with them a bunch. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's called the Overwatch Collective. Have you heard of them?
I have. I don't know a whole bunch, but
okay.
I think I follow them on Instagram.
Oh, they're awesome. So it's a Marine. Well, I guess they were both in the service at one point, but one of the fellows now, he's a police officer. The other one's still active duty. And when they raise money, they're a nonprofit as well, and they do a podcast.
Okay.
They raise this money, and then they send people to counseling that might not otherwise have been able to pay for it. So, like, if
Nice.
a lot of spouses, girlfriend, whatever. But that's basically how they help. Their money goes to helping get people into counseling and counseling sessions. So it's pretty cool. So that's a major source, especially if you don't have the funding for it. And a lot of that stuff, people just don't know about it. So that's where we try to give them, maybe some ulterior or some alternative ways that they can find help. And it's not pushed on them, it's just, hey, if you need it, here's a little postcard that's got a bunch of extra stuff. Here's my phone number, call anytime. And that's kind of how we end each trip. So yes.
I like that.
Yeah. Just, I mean, we're different, we're not a traditional sit down on the big leather couch, I didn't want that.
Right.
I figure they probably, most people, right, on the municipal side of the world, law enforcement, municipal fire departments, they have an EAP where they can access that stuff. I'm slowly learning more about the wildland side of things, both with the feds and some of the state organizations, where it's there, but it sounds like it's a little at times.
Right.
So that's where, I'm already thinking to myself, we're a little different in how we approach this world of healing. So that's where that little postcard comes in, where it's got just more just different avenues that they can access to get help,
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, I think that's cool too, because not necessarily do people know either, like they don't know to look for those resources. They don't know that they could benefit from those resources. I mean, it's knowledge, and that's not going to hurt anything. Like if you use
Yeah.
it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Like now you
Yeah.
have this.
It's just more ammo, right? To get you help. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I know. I mean, that's part of the reason too why I was like, man, I know, like you and I kind of went back and forth a little bit over the past, I don't know, I guess couple months now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be really cool. I don't know if other people know about what you do, or if they don't, this would be a cool way to just kind of spread the word and just, like you said, more ammo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really, really cool, the different avenues and people that contact you and want to talk. And we got asked to go do an event last weekend where we just set up a little booth and talked to a bunch of old fly fishers. And yeah, so there's, I don't know, we just got a bunch of different little things we try to get out and spread the word. And like I said, if it helps one person, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of talk about like no man left behind, we're all in this together, and like you're the living example of that. Like doesn't matter if it's one person. We go fishing,
Yeah, we're no different than anybody. We're still just humans, and we've seen the benefit of, like I said, something as silly as fly fishing and what it did for us, and figured why not see if it would help other people, and it did. But I'm a firm believer in, we have to bring up people, right? They always talk about, like, I'm sure you've heard it, doing fire stuff and dispatch, like succession planning, and like we gotta like train up our guys to take the next spots and become leaders. Well, you can't, you can, that's a great plan, totally great plan, but you can't do it unless you bring up the whole person. So unless you have the whole person there, like training them to do, this job, whatever, for us, engineer, captain, battalion chief, whatever, that's all well and good. But if you're not also taking care of them on the backside, like with their mental health, or, getting them the time off they need, they're going to be, it's going to be rough going, because their mental capacity and bandwidth isn't there to go towards those leadership roles that you want.
Sure.
So that's where I like to think we're helping to kind of build up that whole individual, not just, one aspect. We're getting another one that we can kind of redirect you and get you back into being a better version of yourself. And whether we are or aren't, that's to be determined, but it's our feeble attempt at helping our brothers and sisters out there, whether they're, like I said, law enforcement, fire, EMTs, paramedics. Eventually, if I can figure out how to do it, we'd like to get into the ERs too, for like the ER nurses, and give them the stuff, and kind of that whole first responder world, because they're in a hospital, but they're getting the stuff that we dump off. Yeah, they see all the stuff that we do. We just happen to see it first, and then, like I said, we dump it off on them and take off, and then they're left dealing with it all. So they, they're another group that for sure could use that help, So yeah, and then gosh, who else have we taken out? Oh, we've had a couple of spouses actually. That was pretty cool. They, the spouses were going through a rough time, and guys asked, "Hey, can I bring my wife?" Sure, why not? Let's see what happens, and it was awesome, totally awesome. So that we're not really limited. That's what it's like. I said, it's nice to have like this autonomy to bob and weave and
Yeah.
to set the rules as we go. There's no set rule on who can and can't come. As long as we're helping, that's our biggest focus. So
Yeah.
a long tangent, sorry.
No, I love it. I mean, kind of like you just said too about caring for the whole person. I mean, yeah, you can hire somebody on as an employee and you focus on that aspect, but if you're not taking care of the other part of them, well, the other part of them could be their personal mental health, but it could very well be their spouse and their kids. And it's not just one person.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
everybody's got stuff, right? Stuff going on, and yes, you're totally right.
That's very cool. It kind of makes me wish like this would never happen. Well, never say never, but like if every agency or employer did something like that, where it was like, hey, we're gonna go do this, and not like hey, let's do a team building, but like to either take people to do something like that, or at least give them access and be like, hey, this is what we do. Like, this is the culture. This is the community that we're building. Like, that just blows my mind thinking how different the world would be. Like,
we think about like the end game, if there is one, right? Like what we want it to look like or be, or all those things you kind of mull around in your head.
Right, sure.
And we don't really have one. It's like what we're doing seems to work. I would love it if I had a contact at every agency up and down the state, and then shoot, whoever contacted me. Like I said, if it's from out of state, great. I don't bring it. Let's go. Where they just could set something up. Hey, I've got 10 dudes. Can we put something together? Yes. What day? That would be awesome. Then it's they're not feeling this pressure to wait till one of our official trips. It's pretty tough to get a hold of everybody. even a municipal fireman in California, you ask for email lists or whatever from some of the state organizations, and you don't hear anything. It's really a little frustrating, but the way we figure, if people have heard of us and they want to reach out, they're going to reach out. So we can't control everything. We're just trying to do the best we can with the resources we have currently. It's working. So
yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, you do what you can. You're doing the stuff. That's awesome. Man.
So send your folks my way. We'll take them.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, man, I feel like I know so many people that would be like, yeah, this is super awesome. Like,
send them, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
They're more than welcome. We've even, like, some of the dudes that flew in that last trip, we have an extra room. We put them up here at our house until the day, and then pick them up from the airport. We're all about it. We don't care. We'll put you up to our house. We'll put you in a tent. We don't have an extra room. We're pretty easy going. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, everybody that's watching, you guys should share Jon's stuff so you can get your people fishing.
Yeah, we're here for it. We're here for the group. So
that's very cool, man. I love it. Good stuff.
Got any questions down there? My eyesight ain't great, but
I feel like we had people hopping on. I don't know. I mean, if you guys have any questions and you want to ask Jon, speak now.
Sorry, my phone was about to die. Let me see if I can. All right, good.
I got you sideways, but I guess that'll work.
Oh, Christ, is it? It looks right on my phone. Hold on, I gotta try. It was charged. This is draining it pretty good. Stay up, you sucker. There we go. It might be a little crooked, and if I fall over, I apologize.
That's all good. No worries.
Very informal.
I like it.
I'm super professional over here.
You know,
Mess.
I have a couple people that are like, man, I would love to come on, but it makes me nervous. And I'm like, I get it. It's also super casual. Like I'm wearing a hoodie. Do I don't look like I have anything super fancy? Like, yeah. Oh, we did get a question. Have you reached out to the Fire Department Chronicles?
I don't know who that is. Shame on me.
I know. That question sounds like awesome work.
I think that was my rookie last year that asked that question. Turkey. He knows I'd probably call him something different if we were at work, but no, I haven't, but maybe I should. I don't really know what they do, to be perfectly honest. Do you have any idea?
I can't. Are they? You might have to. Whoever that was, I didn't catch that asked about that.
Sean 88.
Is that?
He's one of our firemen.
Getting called out.
Right.
I can't remember if that's the one that does like all the goofy videos, like the firefighters that do like the coffee videos, maybe, or is that somebody different? I feel like there's so many.
Yeah.
So many different ones. Yeah. Coffee and mental health
day.
Is he the bald guy? He's super funny.
Oh, if that's him, man, that would be awesome. Do the fire department coffee. Oh yeah, okay. So if it's the same guys that do fire department coffee, okay. Yeah, those guys are a hoot, man. They kill me with some of their stuff.
Yes.
Big old mustache. He's got the Lorax mustache going. Fake as I'll get out, but it's pretty dang funny.
I mean, that would be kind of cool if you could do like some kind of I don't know if it'd be like a collaboration, but like just reach out and be like, hey man, this is what I got going on. Like, would you want to do something?
There we go. Yeah, like I said, this whole social media thing, you get all these weird random, you probably get them too, these weird random like messages, and they're like, oh, you want to blow up your Instagram page? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
I want to delete you from my life.
Yeah, get out of here.
Go away.
People that are paying attention to what we're doing are people that, we're the ones that we're trying to reach. I don't need you make me have 10 million followers. Like that's not who I am anyway, but. Right. So in that same vein, I don't know. I guess it can't hurt to ask, right? Hey, dude. Like you said, hey, dude. Here's what I do. Is it something you'd be willing to talk about? Or that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just got.
I mean, I think was it yesterday or the day before I did that quick little reel that was like, hey, I'm doing this giveaway. Like I did it last year. If anybody wants to chip in, let me know. I felt fairly awkward putting that out because I was like, man, I don't like that, like, oh hey, I'm doing this thing and I need other people to be a part of it. Like I don't like asking for things.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's super awkward, but what's really cool is I know so many of those people are like, I've built up connections and they're like, hell yeah, like I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is because people are passionate about building up the community and helping people, and I don't care, wildland structure, ER nurse, EMT, whatever, like I said earlier, it's that brotherhood or that sisterhood, like people want to help each other out. That's awesome.
Yeah, they do. That's what I'm finding more and more. The generosity of people is still alive and well. Gosh darn, this thing keeps wanting to tip over on me, sorry. There really still are generous people out there. I mean, like, you just sent us a bunch of candles for the raffle, and other people hey, call me up or whatever, asking how they can help or what they can donate, any of that kind of stuff. You're 100% right, and I think a lot of times you just got to ask, which I'm really bad at. I'm the same as you. I don't like the burden. Yeah, I don't like to burden people with something I'm trying to do,
Mhm.
um, but then I kind of have to remind myself, hey, there are people that, gosh dang it, that want to help and are genuinely, um, you know, curious and see the benefit of stuff that you're doing or whatever. For whatever reason they want to help, they just do.
Yep.
You just gotta kind of bring them into the fold, which I
Mhm.
tend to try to do a lot of stuff on my own, just so I don't, like I said, so I don't burden other people. But yeah, maybe I'll just throw it out there to that dude. And
Yeah.
Sean asked, "Can we tag him?" Yeah, dude, go for it. If you know him,
Heck yeah.
by all means, brother. Hey, Nick just came on. I know that guy too. Old giggity giggity. Right on. Hey, dude.
I love it.
Good. I know it's kind of funny. He he's a good dude.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, I think kind of looping back around to the whole like asking thing too. I mean, I've had this quote for a while that I'll be honest, like it's prompted me to do like step outside my box, but the answer is always no if you don't ask. Like
Yep, that's
if you
absolutely.
sit on the sidelines and don't ever reach out or ask for assistance, like you're always gonna get a no. Like you're the one telling yourself no because you're not asking.
Yep.
And I don't know. I've also thought too, like I enjoy even like doing what we're doing right now, like being the vessel to reach other people and to help other people. Like I'm not gonna lie, the first couple times I did this, it was hella awkward, but I
Hella.
also knew hella super. It was super awkward.
You are from NorCal.
um,
Awesome.
I just I had to kind of get over that and be like, my temporary discomfort could actually help or
Yeah,
provide value to other people.
absolutely.
And as awkward as it might be, like I'm willing to be a little uncomfortable if I can reach other people or help give other folks a platform like yourself to
Yeah,
share what you're doing and create a ripple effect.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it does work, but they always say, I mean, another, saying, it takes a village. Well, it
Yep,
does. It totally does.
absolutely.
And it doesn't really matter what aspect it is, you're going to need help. And this, it's, I say it's a humbling thing that we're doing because it truly is, but it's also caused me to be humbled a few times to, you know, have to ask for assistance. Yeah, yeah,
Yep,
yeah. You know what I'm saying.
yep.
And kind of reach out for that help. And like you said, usually once you do, the benefits are by and large awesome.
Yep,
So it's not a bad thing.
yep. Man, good stuff.
Not too bad for a dumb redneck, I figure.
You know, everybody's got something. It's all, yeah, I don't know. Everybody's got something to offer. That's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny you say that because like I was telling you how most of our volunteers, only a couple of them are professional guides, and most of them are other first responders, and just their ability not only to connect, right? Because you kind of you don't necessarily want to open up to somebody you don't really know, but when there's that common theme, you let your guard down a little faster or whatever, or I guess easier. But
Mhm.
the folks that have come up to help have been like they're awesome because they'll just like you said they have something to offer and it may not be exactly might this dude might be a cop and this gal that he's paired with might be a firefighter or whatever,
Mhm.
but you can always learn something from each other. And a lot of times, just listening or being that ear, that's their skill for that day. Like one of the guys that came up on our last trip, he was, um, gosh, where did he work? He worked for the state jail. So
Hmm.
the Department of Corrections.
Okay,
and he's
cool.
also a search and rescue guy. Super good dude. And I was telling you how we have those real easygoing conversations where we're all sitting around the campfire, and he like
Hmm.
full on led this discussion, and I'm just sitting back watching, and he's like pretty quiet otherwise, and he just freaking launched and was kind of asking all these tough questions of these folks there, and it was cool. So it's neat to see, like you said, the skill set that other people have and how it can, positively affect the outcome of something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, and even people like you said, if that guy seems to be quiet and then all of a sudden he's put in a situation and he's like just firing it off,
Oh,
like
dude, it
it's the
was like,
secret skills.
oh, it was amazing. I'm like, dude, because you can tell, he's just like a real cerebral guy, a real deep thinker.
Mm.
At least that's how I took him to be. And like, yeah, just the questions he was asking folks, and kind of helping people through whatever their thought was. It was cool to watch. But he does a lot of peer counseling stuff as well, so he's real knowledgeable in um,
Very
that area.
cool.
Yeah, it was great, man. But that's the kind of stuff. Just piggybacking on what you said about the skill sets of others, man. We get to see it when we have these volunteers come up. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And then, so like the volunteers, is that folks that you just rotate out, or is it kind of like your standard
Uh,
group of, you know,
no,
10 people or something?
no, we get asked a lot by all sorts of folks, really, if they can come help, and a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them, I don't know. There are people, believe it or not, that are affiliated with Ryan, who's the guide up at the fly shop. So I
Mm-hmm.
let him, unless it's somebody that I know personally, and I always talk with the guys like, hey, I got this dude wants to come help. He's a good guy. He's a pretty good fisherman, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But when it comes to the people I don't know, usually they know Ryan or Robbie up there, and
Okay,
I
gotcha.
kind of let him. Yeah, I kind of let him run the point on that because um, he's a very very good judge of character, and he knows kind of the temperament of the guys and girls that come to help that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it seems to be that we always luck out with the people that come help. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if he knows your, like, I guess your mission, if you will, or like he knows what you guys are about,
Yeah,
that's kind of one less thing that you have to worry about where you're like, cool, if you can take over that, now I can focus on,
yeah.
the food, setting up the campground, all that other stuff.
Uh,
Wesley, sweet stash, man.
right on, dude. It gives me something to laugh at in the morning, dude.
I love it. Oh, man. Well, I realize we are coming up on about an hour now.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have anything else that you want to share or
No,
if anybody else
no.
has questions or.
Yeah, if folks have questions, by all means. But no, that's me and us in a nutshell. So, oh, there's
Cool.
Griffin. You know,
Solid folks right there.
yeah, I would concur with that statement, Doctor. They are awesome. Oh, and Michelle, both of
No.
them. Hey guys, uh, right back at you, dude.
I love it. Cool.
So,
Well,
so yeah, no, nothing else for me.
okay.
No, that's like I said, that's us kind of in a nutshell, and
Awesome.
our
Well,
mission
I
and what we're,
appreciate,
we're after.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on and sharing. I mean,
Thank you.
like I said before, I mean, I know kind of what you guys do, but it's cool hearing the backstory behind it as well. So I
Yeah,
appreciate
we're just
that.
just normal people that I always tell people our story is unique to us, but we're no different than anybody else. Everybody has bad stuff,
Hmm.
so we're not special or unique in that way, but it's special and unique to us, and we're trying to take that garbage 6 months and help hopefully help somebody else out. So
Sure. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Well, for anybody who is interested, if you want, I can go ahead and put like your website in the caption too, or like your Instagram page, whatever. That way, if folks want to reach out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, all that stuff goes right to me. So I'm
okay.
the one
Sweet.
that'll be answering any emails or messages on here. So yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. And then, like I said earlier, I have it set up now where I can do, gosh, what platforms? I have YouTube now. I usually post it to Facebook, and then I'll put it on a Spotify podcast.
Sweet.
So that way people can come back and listen and share or spread the word too.
Good deal. Yeah. Yep. Get it
Awesome.
out there. We're just, that's what we're here for is helping us get better in our brains. So
I love it.
that's our only focus.
Cool.
And we make good friends with people too. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. All right. Well, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I guess we'll go ahead and call it a night then.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Thanks,
All right.
John. Thanks,
Yeah, take
everybody,
care.
for tuning in. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.